Hey guys, my name is Wendy. I'm a Medicare specialist here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I own a brokerage called Integrity Insurance Group where we specialize in health insurance, life insurance, and annuity products. Primarily on the health insurance side, we work with Medicare products, work with both supplements and Advantage plans, individual drug plans, and the like. We also broker hospital indemnity plans, dental, vision, and hearing individual plans. We work with a number of different companies so we can put ourselves in a position to be of the utmost service to the people who come find us. We also broker the marketplace. So the Affordable Care Act, you're probably familiar with that. Some people refer to it as Obamacare. Self-employed people or people who are in between jobs, things of that nature, we can help get them coverage while they're waiting to be eligible for another coverage at another employer. Or we also have many couples who one person is eligible for Medicare and the other person isn't quite old enough yet. That's why we kind of got into that market in the first place. What I have not done to this point on this channel is really give you some background information on me. I just want to give you a snapshot as to why I started Integrity Insurance Group in the first place. And if you know somebody that you think might be a good fit for us to bring on board, or it might be you. I really started in the insurance industry kind of by accident. I had lost a job and was recruited into a little company called New York Life. You may have heard of it. Worked for them for about a year. Then I got recruited to a company called Mass Mutual, which is one of the largest life insurance companies in the world. Worked for them for a handful of years, and what I found to be true, at least personally, is that I just wasn't somebody who grew up in one town and stayed there the whole time. We moved around quite a bit. I didn't have any real roots where I could go open up a brick and mortar and build a business based on my family reputation, because I didn't really live in a place where that was true for me. What I had to do is learn really well how to have a really quick elevator speech, how to prospect very well, and how to book appointments and just run my appointments. I became very, very good at that. What I found to be true with my colleagues, both at New York Life and at Mass Mutual, is that there were very few of those people who started the way that I did. There was one lady at New York Life who had a similar story to me. Her name's Sherry Barton. We actually used to call her Miss New York Life because she was so incredible. She started out in the insurance industry as a single parent with no net, and that is exactly my story. I don't necessarily recommend it. It was incredibly difficult, but it is also what I attribute a lot of my success to. As I began to further understand the limits that I had by being a captive agent, I moved out of that and I explored property and casualty. I always tell people I did that for about 5 minutes, which is what it kind of felt like. So I got out of that and I got recruited to a little agency in Tulsa, and their market was the Medicare market, and that's where I learned Medicare. It's where I began to understand how all the different parts work, what they cost, what a supplement was. All that being said, that was a little bit of a toxic environment, and it wasn't super financially healthy from the agent's perspective because commissions were low, turnover was high, and there wasn't a lot of trust in terms of your book of business that you built. So there's nothing that would necessarily keep one of my counterparts from replacing something that I wrote from one of my clients. I left, I went to another agency, and I got paid better. There was a lot more protection over the business that we wrote in houses, but it was also a toxic environment for a number of different reasons. And I want people to understand the essence behind why I started my agency in the first place. When I left that last agency, I left with no plan. I literally got to a point where I was so over it that I was willing to be a barista. I was willing to work at a gas station. I legitimately lost all hope for me to have a career in the insurance industry. I got a dog and cried a lot in the floor of my little one-bedroom apartment in Bixby, Oklahoma. Started doing some research on my laptop to figure out what I could do to make money, and I knew how to book appointments. I just didn't have any contracts. I didn't understand how to even begin with that. And I got hooked up with what's called an IMO, an independent marketing organization, hooked me up with a number of med sub contracts, final expense contracts, and some ancillary products like the dental, vision, and hearing, hospital indemnity, things of that nature. It's off and running. I would just run the system like I had before, as I was taught to do, make some sales, pay my bills, and I started to get some referrals. Over time, I built up a good little book of business. After the pandemic, I decided to get an office, and I decided that I wanted to grow my agency. I began taking on agents, and over the last 4.5 years, I've had a number of agents in the office, and for one reason or another, I've only got one of them left. And she's experienced, she came from another agency, and so she's kind of flying on her own. I've always had this vision of creating an environment where agents are supported, agents are trained properly, agents are paid what I believe is a fair commission, put in a position to actually build their own book of business so that they can generate revenue for their future selves, so you can actually start building a retirement stream of income. So what I've come to the conclusion of is that maybe it's you. Maybe there's somebody out there that's in a position similar to what I was in, and who just needs a place to go to. And a place where they can be a part of something bigger than themselves, get paid well, get supported well. We have a grassroots marketing system that costs $0. It does cost gas money, and some work ethic, but we've got ways for lead generation. If any of what I have described resonates with you, or maybe you know somebody that I'm describing that's a friend or family member, send them our way. We're Integrity Insurance Group. Our website is iigtulsa.com. That's iigtulsa.com. There's a career page where you can submit an inquiry, or you can just give us a call, 918-600-2133, or you can email your resume to info@iigtulsa.com.